Good afternoon. My name is Hannah, and I am the social media manager here at COSI. Thank you for joining me today for the 2021 COSI Science Festival. The festival has moved from a 4-day physical festival to an all-digital format May 5th through 8th. On May 8th, we hope you will connect virtually with at-home science activities and share your experience with photos or videos on social media using hashtag COSISciFest. And of course, we want to give a big shout out to all of the sponsors and partners of the COSI Science Festival, especially our visionary sponsor, Battelle. We certainly couldn't do this without them. Want to show your support for COSI? We are nominated once again for USA Today's 10 Best Science Museum. You can vote for COSI by visiting cosi.org/10best. And don't forget, COSI opens to the public on June 3rd. Now it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's event.
Hi, everybody. Welcome again to the second part of our origami workshop. Hopefully you were here yesterday. If you weren't here, I'll just go briefly over what we did, but we're going to move on from what we did yesterday for those who were here yesterday. So I am Monica. I am part of the Ohio State Department of Mathematics. The Ohio State University Department of Mathematics. And we have this awesome group called Buckeye Ham Math Moments, so you can see it on my t-shirt, and we organize all sort of fun math activities like this origami workshop. And so what we did yesterday was learn how to fold one piece that's called Sonabe unit, and it's used in origami, modular origami, which means you make a lot of pieces of the same module or unit, and then you assemble them together to form different pieces. And there are actually many pieces that you can make using that same unit. So we learned this yesterday, and just in case you forgot how to do it, I'm just gonna very quickly go over the steps again so you can see them. Okay, so now you can see them on your screen, and I'm also gonna show them to you live. Okay. Okay, so somehow, don't know why you can't see that. Hannah, can you confirm if people are able to see my origami pieces? Okay, so let's go back to my main camera, please. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I'll try to fix it. But for now, I'm going to show the steps to you with my computer webcam. So this is what we did yesterday. You need to start with a square piece of paper, and the first step is to fold it in half, like this. Then you unfold it, and we're gonna bring the edges towards that middle fold that we marked before. So like this. So we're bringing the edge to the crease that we made. And I'm gonna do the same on both sides. So after doing both sides, you should have something like this, which you can fold in two and just really mark the creases. Then you need to unfold it, and we're gonna bring the short edge towards the long edge like this. And we talked about how it was really important to make sure that in all the pieces you are doing this. So in your screen, I'm doing the short edge towards the bottom edge. Whereas you could also do this, but then you would have a different piece. So you want to make sure that you're doing them all in the same direction. So after doing that, I'm going to do the same with the other side. So now I have this short edge, and I'm bringing it towards the opposite long edge, like this. Now we unfold and we have to pay attention to the creases that we made. So we have these two small triangles here, which are sort of folded towards the outside, but we want to bring them towards the inside, like so. So I'm doing the same thing on both sides. I'm using the crease that we already had, but folding the triangles towards the inside. Okay, so I'm going to fold this side again. And now I'm also going to notice that I have these, let's see, this crease in here, which is kind of making a triangle out of the corner. So that's the one that I want to fold, make using the crease that we already have just folded. And we should end up with two triangles, one a bigger one and one small one, opposing. And then I'm gonna just bring back the fold towards the inside as we had it before. And the last step is to notice that that crease is also here. And we are going to use it, but we need to tuck the flap inside the little pocket in here. So instead of just folding like that, we need to tuck it in. So that's almost the final piece. The last step that we want to do is to just mark these two triangles here. So now we have a square and two triangles. And I was telling you yesterday that this looks like a little table to me. So that's what we have to end up with. And so those are the steps that we followed yesterday. And one of the tasks that you had before today was to make as many as you could. So preferably about 51. But if you couldn't make it till 51, less than that was also okay. You could also do stuff. But 51 is how many we're going to need to make all the pieces. So then the next step was how to assemble the stars. So for example, Hannah, can you take out the steps, please? Okay, so what type of paper do I recommend using? The best one is origami paper, so you can actually find it in Amazon like that. It's just origami paper. And it's a little bit thinner than the regular copy paper. But if you don't have that kind of paper, then just get copy paper, it's fine. It's just easier with paper that is a little bit thinner. So this was one of the stars that we made yesterday, and I'll show you how to assemble them, how to assemble the pieces together. And one of the challenges was to try and assemble them and see how many different stars you could make, or how many different shapes you could make. So I'm going to go again over the steps to see how to assemble them. And we're going to try to assemble all the stars today. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the math behind. So let me bring some of my pieces. Let's see if my other camera is now working. Okay. So give me a moment. Just give me one more second so I can see if I can make this camera work. No. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay, so let's forget about that camera. I'll just show it to you on my own camera. Okay, so the first step is the basic thing. So we have these basic modules. We need to take 3 to make a pyramid. And using these 3, we're going to make pyramids. And pyramids are sort of like our starting point for building the stars. So I'm calling them pyramids, but really when we're thinking about the stars is the peaks of the stars that we're making. So take 2. I'm using different colors just so that you can see the different pieces that I'm using. If you have only white paper, that's fine as well. I see another question here. Is 6-inch cami paper good for these stars? Yes, that is really good. Mine, it's a little bit smaller than 6 inches, but 6 inches is very good. So for those of you who weren't here yesterday, or just as a reminder, these pieces have flaps. So these are called flaps. And they also have pockets. So I can see a pocket in here. You can see my finger sticking in there. And another pocket here. And so flaps go into pockets, and that's how you assemble them. So since I have two flaps in here, two pockets in here, sorry, I could assemble them in this way, but then they would end up overlapping, right? So that's not good because it's not gonna work. So we wanna do it in a different direction. So I'm gonna use the other pocket. Okay. Like this, right? So when I insert it in, you have to kind of find the right pocket so you can make a T like this instead of just them overlapping. So now I have two, and I'm looking at this corner where the red and the purple are meeting, and that's where I'm gonna go ahead and add other piece. So I have a yellow one in here, and that's what I'm gonna add in here. So since I want to connect them and I want them to be all three together in this corner, I can see that I have a pocket in here, so I'm gonna try to use that pocket. And now, so I still have this flap here, and I also have this pocket here. So I can, sorry. So you do have to be very careful so that these, what just happened to me doesn't happen to you. And now we try to insert, we want to insert that red flap into the yellow pocket. Okay, hold on. I need to move my computer just a little bit so that I can plug it to the connection, but just give me 1 second. Okay, now we're good. Sorry about that. Okay, so I was saying, and we have this pyramid now after inserting all three in there. And this is the basic piece that we're going to use. So some things that we can notice about it mathematically, can someone tell me in the comments if you want, what is the angle that is forming here in this pyramid? So I'm gonna show it to you in different directions. So like this. But you can also look at it like that. That's the corner as well. What angle is this? And notice that I also have it here. It has three sides. This pyramid has three sides, 1, 2, and 3. And the angle forming in the corner, that's what I'm wondering, what angle it is, if you can figure it out. I know it's a little bit hard to see on the screen, but yes, we have an answer in here, and it's a 90-degree angle. Perfect, thank you. So that is the correct answer, and that is going to be important later on when we discuss the mathematics behind it. But that's the pyramid that we have, and from it we want to go ahead and form our stars by connecting different pyramids. Now, one thing that I was telling you yesterday is that if you just to start making pyramids and then try to put them together, that's not going to work, because the idea is to use the flaps to connect each other, right? So instead of building another pyramid and then connecting it to this one, I want to keep adding pieces and make more pyramids connected to this one. So one other thing that I showed yesterday is that if you start with this, you can actually, so one question was how many pyramids you needed to make different stars, right? So can we make a pyramid, a star with only one pyramid, so starting just from these without adding more pieces of paper? And the answer was yes. So something I showed yesterday is that you could close this one just by pulling the flaps into the right pockets. And that is just the closest one. So I have a flap in here, and I know that I have a pocket in here. So I can just pull put that flap inside this pocket, just the closest one. And just by doing those connections, you would end up with something like this. So this is something that we made yesterday, which actually is only made from 3 pieces of paper, but it ends up having 2 pyramids. So I have one pyramid here, the one that I started with, and then when I closed all the remaining flaps, it ends up forming another pyramid. So we have this object which has like 2 pyramids connected. And this doesn't look a lot like a star, but this is like our basic star. And we want to see if we can make more stars using more pieces of paper and more pyramids. So starting from this one, I'm going to keep adding paper, and you should be doing that as well at home. I'm trying this out. So let me see. Now I'm going to focus on this corner perhaps, right? So now I have a yellow and a blue, and I want to add another piece in there. So I'm going to try to see where I can add it. So I think I can add it in here. Sometimes it might take a little bit of experimentation. So if it fails, it means that that was not the correct pocket. But let's try this one, right? So I'm putting the blue flap inside the green pocket in this corner that I was talking about. And so now I see that this green, it's really close to this yellow pocket here. So I'm going to try to put it in there. Okay, so it seems that it works. Now I'm going to try to identify if I actually made 2 pyramids. So we started with this pyramid, which was the blue, yellow, red. And now I also have this other pyramid, which is blue, green, yellow. But I still have some flaps available, which means if I want to complete this star, I need to keep adding more pieces of paper. So now I'm going to focus on another corner and try to add pieces of paper in there. So I have red and blue there. So I'm going to try to add another color here. And again, it's about trying to figure out where to insert it. So if I did this, I would be overlapping the pieces. So see how this red flap ends up being hidden behind the orange one. So that's not something that I want. So I'm going to try it in a different way. Remember that we're trying to make teeth. So I'm going to insert the red flap inside the yellow pocket because I am trying to complete this corner in here. So I'm going to have orange, red, blue. And now it's, again, about figuring out where to insert this flap. So this flap kind of comes in close. Okay. Close to this flap in here. So I'm actually going to try to insert it there and look, it's working. So by the way, at this point, if you are with a friend or with your family, try to do this a family activity, because if a single person is trying to do it, it might fall apart. So you do need to hold the whole thing together while you are trying to insert a new one, so it doesn't fall apart. Okay, but it seems that it's working, but I still have some flaps, some free flaps in here. So I was able to complete this corner with orange, red, and blue. That's closed. So now I have 1, 2, let's see, and 3 pyramids actually. So I'm gonna try adding one here. Okay, so this one seems to have fallen apart. So I have this green flap here, and I don't want it to be there. So I'm just gonna insert it in a closed pocket. So this one is closed. Seems that it goes in there. So I'm gonna put it there. And again, try to hold the whole thing together so that it doesn't fall apart. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm pointing at my 4 pyramids, right? Now it doesn't look like it's 4 different pyramids because they share sides. But if you focus on a single one, you can see the 3 colors And you can see the 90-degree angles that we were talking about, which makes this a pyramid, and this other corner is another pyramid, and so on. But we still have 2 flaps in here. So I'm still gonna add one more piece and see if I can complete another corner. So I'm gonna focus on this corner that has orange and red, and I'm gonna add another color. So I am inserting this new color into that available pocket that I have in there. And now these are the 2 flaps that I wanted to just somehow get rid of, put into some pockets. And now that I'm adding this blue piece, it seems that this yellow would fit really nicely in there, and so would the orange on the opposite side. So I'm just inserting it into the pocket. And I still have this one, this flap. It's still available. But other than that, it seems that we have a full piece, right? We have a closed shape, which I'm sure you all know what's the name of this shape. And I'm just gonna put this flap into the closest available pocket, so this one here. Right, so now we have this, what's it called? Cube. Thank you. Yeah, so it's a cube, right? And so now you're gonna say like, but that's not a star, that's a cube. Yeah, so it's the same idea as with this one, right? So we started with the simple, and in math we always want to start simple and then keep building it up to something more complicated. So we are hoping that by keep on adding more pieces, we're gonna build more complex shapes that are actually what we would call a star. So we have this one, which had we made with 3 pieces of paper, and it ended up having 2 pyramids. And this one, which ended up having, yeah, so how many pieces of paper did I use for this one? Right? Can someone, did you remember? So we were adding one by one, so it was hard to keep track of the numbers, right? So, but we might try to count them. So I have this yellow one, which should be a single piece because it looks like it's connected. So 1, 2, 3. And I think I was using all the way different colors. So let's see. Let's count the colors, right? So I have this blue, and I have this other like darker blue, or we could also call it purple. Purple, blue, purple, red. That's 3 colors. And then I also have yellow, 4. I have green and orange. Am I missing one? Yellow. I think I was missing the yellow, right? So I kind of need to type it down in order to figure out. So let's see, orange, blue, dark blue or purple, yellow, green, and red. Yes, I think those are 6 colors. So orange, blue, purple, yellow, green, and red. So we used 6 different pieces of paper to build this one. And if you were following me and you were doing the same thing and you also lost track of it, you can disassemble it and do it again and figure out how many pieces of paper you used. But yes, in the process that we're making, there are 2 things to count: how many pyramids we end up with and how many pieces of paper we were using. So again, this smaller one had 3 pieces of paper and it made 2 pyramids, 2 opposing pyramids. And this one had 6 pieces of paper. And if we try to count the pyramids again, so I'm sure I can convince you that the pyramids are equivalent to the corners, right? So each corner of the cube that I look at has these 3 colors, and it has this 90-degree angle, and it forms a pyramid. If we only focus on that corner, we can see that that is a pyramid. And how many corners do we have in a cube? So we have 8 corners, which means we have 8 pyramids. And again, they are sharing pieces of paper, which is why we only have 6 pieces of paper, but we have 8 corners. So 8 corners. I'm trying to mark them with my fingers. But again, this is not a start. This is not so much fun. So we want to go ahead and try something more complicated. Okay, so the next one, like I said, it's more complicated, definitely. But we are going to try, and perhaps we should try to keep the count of how many pieces of paper we are using. To start again, just take any 2 pieces and make a T with them. Again, we want to add a 3rd piece of paper to make a pyramid in there. And remember, I'm trying to complete the pyramid in this corner, so I'm going to insert my green flap into the yellow corner, the yellow flap. And then I just have to connect them by putting this red flap inside one of the green pockets, like so. All right, so I have a corner now. And again, like we did before, we just want to keep adding pieces of paper to see if we can make a different star. And we have to be careful that we don't end up doing what we did before. So we want to try to do it in a different way. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, so I'm going to try to build another pyramid with this yellow, which is why I folded it. So let's see, I'm gonna use a different color and I'm gonna insert it in this new color into that pocket. And I'm trying to complete a pyramid there. So I'm gonna try to add another piece of paper to complete that pyramid here. So again, using that pocket. And connecting it with the other flap that was available there. Hello, sorry about that. Turns out that my computer wasn't correctly plugged, but here I am again. And I was talking to you about trying to build these 2 pyramids, right? So I'm trying to do these 2 pyramids, but it turns out that if I, instead of holding them in this direction where you can actually see that it's 2 pyramids, you try to close them, you sort of like put them together, it seems that I'm making a cube again, right? So I have to be very careful not to end up making that cube again. So how can I do that? Well, if this was going to be a cube, this purple and this green should end up being connected. So I'm going to try to, instead of doing that, add another pyramid here. So let's see how we can do that. Let's see. Okay. So I'm taking another piece of paper. And I am going to try to make a T with the available flap in here. And that one. Hold on. It gets harder as you add more pieces. Okay. All right, so now I'm trying to make another pyramid in there. So with this purple and orange, so I'm gonna try to add a third piece in here to make another pyramid. And so I'm trying to choose a color that I haven't used before. So let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna use that purple pocket there and join them together by inserting the orange flap in there. Okay. Okay, so if this was going to be a cube, now I would have just too many pieces, and they are sort of like getting in the way of each other there. So this looks promising, but I still somehow have to connect this orange with this green. So I'm just gonna try to use one of the closest available pockets and see if that works. Let's see. Okay, seems that it might be working. See how I'm creating that pattern in there. And it seems that I'm also creating this other pyramid here, which is missing one side. So I'm going to add another piece of paper in there. And let's see, I'm going to use the white one. So here. This is the corner that I was focusing on, and I'm adding a third piece, and I'm just connecting it as I've been doing before. So inserting the flap in the available pocket, and then I want to connect my third piece, my green, and to do so, I'm just going to insert it in the pocket, like so. Okay. All right, it looks good. It's not as sturdy as you would like because it still has a lot of flaps in there that need to go into some pockets. But this side looks nice, right? I have, again, 4 pyramids connected there. And they are making this really nice pattern here, which actually now looks like a star. But I have to complete the other half here. So again, I just have to be very careful. So I have these and these. I don't think I want to connect these two because that would look like so if I connected the white with the dark blue, it would be trying to make a cube. So no, I don't want to do that. So I want to add another piece of paper. So here I'm adding another piece of paper to try to make another corner there. But now I do have this blue, dark blue here. So I'm going to try to put it into one of the yellow pockets. See if that works. Okay. It seems to be working. And the reason that I know it's because, so the previous corner where I had showed you this nice pattern is here, right? I had green, orange, yellow, purple. And now it seems that I'm forming another one here. So that's probably, we're going in the right direction there because I'm seeing the same pattern in another corner, coming up in another corner. And I also see here that I have already a pyramid forming. It just needs something to close on because it has only 2 sides, the purple and the yellow, or dark blue. So I'm adding another piece of paper. And remember, I'm trying to close this pyramid. So if I want to do that, I need to insert the yellow into the pink pocket. Okay, sorry, but sometimes I need to use the table so that I have more support, I guess. And I also have, now I have, so I've successfully formed this pyramid that I was working on. But I do have this flap in here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and insert it wherever it's closer, which is the pink one, the pink pocket here. Okay, and it seems that now I formed a third of these patterns, this 4-corner pattern, four lines, I guess, or like a star in there. So it looks good. I'm seeing this pattern coming up again. And I see also that I have this yellow and white pyramid forming, so I'm gonna add another piece in here. So like as usual, I'm just gonna insert the flap into the pocket and then use the flap that was there in the new pocket just to connect them. So like that, I successfully formed this pyramid here. So it was yellow and white, and now I added the blue. Right, looks good, it looks good. So in here, and I said that we were going to keep track of how many pieces we were going, and I forgot to do that. So now it's gonna be complicated, but I think the easiest way probably is just to keep a mark of how many you have used. But I am looking at this other corner here, which has blue and pink. I do have some flaps available, but it doesn't seem like that is going to work to connect them. So I'm going to add a third piece in here to form a pyramid in this corner. So again, this new one, I insert it in there. And I'm going to close it by putting the pink inside the green pocket. And the green is the one that I added last right now. And so again, let me remind you that if you have help, this is easier because you really need to be careful about keeping your piece together. Okay. So now I have to be really careful because I have a huge overlap in here. Okay, so I have these, notice how I have these 3 flaps in here. Seems that if I put them together in the right way, I might be able to form a pyramid with them. So I'm not gonna go ahead and add a new piece. I'm gonna try to form a pyramid with these flaps that I have available in here. So this red, I'm gonna try to insert it into the green, which seems the right way to go. And then the green, I'm gonna try to insert it into the blue pocket, which I just need to find the right pocket to do so. So here, and again, remember to keep it together. By the way, if your folds were like almost perfect and very precise, as I was talking about yesterday, this process would be easier. So the more nicely cut your pieces of paper are and the more marked your creases are, this process should be easier. So now I only have 1 flap, 1 pocket there. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to connect it. And I end up with this really nice piece now, right? Which kind of like, if you focus on it on some parts, you want to go ahead and say it looks like it was a cube. It was going to be a cube, but it isn't. And I hope you, as I, would call this a star now. So sure that the first thing was a star, and we're definitely not sure about believing that a cube is a star. But this, which we used the same pieces and the same process to make, this definitely looks like a star, right? And again, we can count how many pyramids we have in it. So notice again the 90-degree angles in here. This is 1 pyramid. It's a little bit hard to count, but let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 corners here, and I also have the ones on the other side. So I'm trying to use my fingers for it, and then I'm going to try to count how many fingers I am using. Okay, so pointing at the corners, 4 fingers there, and 4 fingers on the other side. So I have my thumbs and my little fingers here, and I also have these 2 other fingers here. So 8 in total, 8 corners, which are 8 pyramids. We could call this an 8-pointed star, but we have these nice pyramids with 90-degree angles. Okay, and so I know we weren't able to count how many pieces of paper we used in here. You're gonna have to take my word for granted, or if you're doing it at home, you can check it yourself. So this should take 12 pieces of paper, right? So again, this was 3 pieces of paper and it made 2 pyramids. This was 6 pieces of paper and it made 8 pyramids. And this one is also 8 pyramids, and this one is 12 pieces of paper. So 12 pieces of paper, and we have this other shape. And I said to make all the pieces, we would need 51. So far, we have only used, let's see, 3 plus 6, that's 9, plus 12, that's 21. So we should have 30 pieces of paper left over. If you had been able to use all the 51, to fold all the 51 that I said. So the last star that we would want to do would have 30 pieces of paper. Now the process is definitely longer. So before I go into that, because I know we're not going to have enough time to go over the whole process, I wanna talk about the math behind. So let me share my screen. Okay, hold on. Okay, so some of you might have heard about GeoGebra, which we are seeing here. GeoGebra is a nice geometry and algebra software. It's free. You can download it, or you can also use it on your online without having to download anything. But I like it because you can make really cool things with it. And so I want to show you this animation, which I can actually share the link with you later. So this is a model. We would call it a model, a computer model of the first shape that we made. So this one. Okay, so if we sort of pay close attention to this one, I said this is 2 pyramids opposing each other. And so what's in the middle of them is sort of like a base, a triangular base, right? So if we think about these pyramids have triangular bases. So it's a triangular pyramid. And so we can imagine that we have a triangle here in the middle, and we just stick 2 pyramids on it. So that's what I'm trying to show with this animation. Of course, notice that it has the angles in there. So we have pyramids that are 90-degree angles. So I can go ahead and slide this and see if I can make a 90-degree angle. That's approximately 90 degrees. And I'm moving this one. So all I did here with GeoGebra, with my geometry software, was start with a base that has the form of a triangle and add 2 pyramids on the top and on the bottom. But the angles of that pyramids could be anything. So I'm trying to make them 90 degrees as my real pieces of paper that I have in here. So this is what I have. And now you can see it around, and hopefully you can convince yourself that this is the shape that we made with paper. So this one. Okay, so the other models, though, are more complicated, right? So if we think about, okay, so the pieces that we can make with these origami modules are anything that has a triangular shape. And then if you have a shape with triangular faces, then on any triangular face, you can stick a pyramid, and then you come up with a shape. So like here, I only had one triangular face. I stick together two pyramids, one on the upper part and one on the bottom part of that triangle, and I ended up with this piece. What about the cube though? Okay, so let's see this other animation that I have in here. I don't think, yeah, this is the cube. So I'm trying to think about other shapes that have triangular faces. And another shape that has a triangular faces is this, it's a pyramid itself, right? So this is a pyramid. It's also called tetrahedron. So that sort of brown or reddish thing in the middle, that's a pyramid, also known as tetrahedron. And now I'm on each of the triangular faces, I'm trying to stick one of my paper pyramids. But remember, they are 90 degrees, so I'm moving this or trying to. Okay, there it goes. Okay, I'm trying to slide the angles to show you. But I'm going to be honest, I love GeoGebra, but sometimes these applets just don't work the way you want them to. Well, okay. If you can use your imagination, let's see. That's because I'm on the Zoom. This one, okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I had a smaller angle, but I'm trying to make a 90-degree angle because I know my pyramids that I made with paper are 90 degree, have 90-degree angles. So I'm gonna see what a model of putting pyramids on the faces of a tetrahedron looks like when these pyramids have 90-degree angles, or approximately 90-degree angles. Okay, am I missing any? No, I don't think so. All right, so that's what I did. I just changed the pyramids that I sticked on the faces of the tetrahedron so that they had 90-degree angles. And what I formed looks perfectly like a cube. So I know it looks a little bit weird to believe that a cube was made out of pyramids and that these pyramids were put into the faces of a tetrahedron. But that's what I'm trying to show you with this model, right? Whereas if the angles were not 90 degrees as it was before, right? So let's go back to how it was at the beginning. It didn't. If the pyramids didn't have 90-degree angles, we would have this thing, which doesn't look like a cube at all, right? So it is very important that the reason why we get a cube is because these pyramids have 90-degree angles. So when I move them, we make a cube, as I showed you before. All right, so what other shapes? So where does this one come from there, right? So if we're thinking about, we're sticking pyramids on shapes that have triangular faces. And we have 8 pyramids in this one. So so what shape do you think is like hidden as the inside this, as the nucleus or something of this shape, right? So I'm gonna show it to you. Some of you might know the shape. Let's see. So if you're looking at the title, you might already have noticed. And this is again, I'm focusing right now on the brownish shape in the middle, and that is called an octahedron. All right, so now just focus on that brownish shape. You could also call it a diamond, a 3D diamond, or it's like two pyramids with square bases stick together, right? So we have one pyramid on the top, and it has its bases has 4 sides. Okay, so that's called an octahedron, and it's called an octahedron because it has 8 triangular faces, and these are special triangular faces. These are all equilateral triangles, but that's not too important right now. And so now we have these 8 faces, 8 triangles, and we put a pyramid on each of those triangles. We get presumably the shape that we just made with paper. And I can test it or check it with this model. Okay. So again, I have very different angles, but I can go ahead and change all those angles to make 90 degrees. Now we have many more angles, so it's going to take a little bit longer, and it's a little bit hard to see, but let's see if we can make it. Okay, 90. Something around there, I think. Ninety. 90. Almost 90. There. Let's see, which one am I missing? This one. 90. This other one. 90. Okay. Here's one that I haven't fixed. 90. Okay, so now I think all my angles are approximately 90 degrees. And so here's one that's not, right? So it looks a little bit, it looks more pointy. That's how I notice it. So there, 90. Okay, so now I think I have all angles about 90 degrees. And it's a little bit harder to see, I know, because, well, it's just a bigger shape. But hopefully you can use your imagination and see how this is actually the piece that we just made with paper. Maybe one way of noticing that it is the same shape is to focus here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pyramids connected in this corner. And that is very similar to what we have here, right? This really nice pattern where I have 4 pyramids coming together. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they're forming this nice star in this area. So that's the same thing on paper and on a computer model. So the next shape that we are probably not going to have time to assemble, as I said, it has 30. It needs to use 30 pieces of paper. And so I'm going to give it away to you. That one should come from a shape called icosahedron. That's a 3D shape that has 20 triangular faces. So 20 triangular faces. So we should have 20 pyramids in our shape. So those are the clues that I'm giving to you. So you can try to assemble that shape. And again, just follow that same process, right? So remember, you have to start with a pyramid and then add more shapes. But as you're adding more, try to notice and pay a lot of attention into not making what we did before, right? So not following the same steps, exactly the same steps as when we did a cube, and not following exactly the same steps as when we did this other shape. And just sort of to reaffirm that. And Hannah, if we can focus again on my camera, please. Thank you. So remember when we were trying to do that, to do this one, I started and then I said, well, if I do this, I'm going to end up with a cube. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different so that I don't end up with a cube. So again, do that same thing. If you start trying to make that other shape with the icosahedron as the underlying shape. Notice if you're forming this pattern, then something went wrong. You're just again doing this one, right? So here's the tip. Instead of forming this four-sided star, I guess, or four points, start with 4 points. You should have 5. So you should see a similar pattern, but with 5 pyramids coming together at one of these points. And so you should be seeing patterns like this one with 5 points, 5 corners on your star. So that's a clue that I can give you to try to assemble the next one. And then even if whether you do or do not try to assemble that other one, I recommend you try to experiment with these shapes. So I did see a question in there. Could you make a swan? Well, I think that might be a little bit difficult because these are more like geometric shapes. But if you can think of a geometric representation of a swan, you might be able to do it. So that's what I'm talking about. Don't just take for granted that these 3 plus the other one that we didn't have time to make are the only ones. I recommend you try to experiment and see if you can make something different using this module and the idea of, again, putting together 2 by inserting a flap into a bucket like this. Okay, so we're about to be over, but before we do that, I do want to share with you something else that we are doing. So I said that I am part of this group at the Ohio State University. Let me find it. Okay. I think I have it. All right, so can you show that, Hannah, please? Thank you. Okay, so I said we are part of this group, Buckeye Aha Math Moments. We do a lot of math fun activities. And so one thing that we are preparing, getting ready to do is our virtual summer camp. So it used to be in person, but as everything, this year is going to be virtual. And the topic this year, we have a different topic each year. This year we're doing math magic. So really, this is not like some trick, and I'm not saying just math magic because I'm going to show you that 2 + 2 is 4. These are actual magic tricks that are inspired by mathematics. And by actual magic tricks, I mean real magicians actually use these tricks that are inspired by math. And so this is what we are going to be exploring in this summer camp. So this is for middle school students and high school students. We have 2 separate weeks for each age group. So if you are interested, you can learn more at that website over there. And you can also just follow us in our different social media if you're interested in finding out about more events like this one. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Hannah. I enjoyed this very much, and I hope you did too. And feel free to email us or just post anything on our social media. If you have any questions or if you want to show the pieces that you created to do, please share it with us. And thank you for being here.